What's up everybody, it's La Muerte Blanca and we're back with another explained video where we speedrun the retelling of complicated game stories with plenty of jokes along the way. This time we're discussing Resident Evil 3, or Capcom's excuse to make release day purchasers overpay for what should have been Resident Evil 2 DLC. If you're one of those that can't spare the 6+ hours needed to play it, that's right, 6 hours. Don't worry, I got you. For context, Resident Evil 3 takes place before and after Resident Evil 2. Don't ask me why, we already know Capcom refuses to tell a coherent story. Look into Shoe Dragon's dogma. A couple of months after the events of Resident Evil 1, we're back with our girl Jill Valentine, and she is struggling. Insane nightmares, probably PTSD, but who wouldn't after fighting a fixed camera for 15+ hours in a mansion where everything's trying to eat you? Since surviving the events of RE1, Jill's been investigating Umbrella and the zombie outbreak on her own. She got suspended because, as we know from RE2, Police Chief Irons is corrupt as hell, and this whole situation is basically Watergate with zombies. Jill also got that Natalie Portman redesign, looks and attitude. One tends to give zero fucks after living a literal nightmare.
You shut the up and suck my.
She gets a call from Brad. Who's Brad? Doesn't matter, cause boom! Bagface Mr. X Kool-Aid mans Jill's apartment, choke slams her and starts throwing haymakers for no reason. The hell did this thing come from? Jill's frantically trying to escape while this thing's throwing concrete blocks, dropping through ceilings,
surprise, motherfucker,
and doing literally everything he can to ruin her night. By some plot armor miracle, she manages to get away as the building comes crashing down on top of it. As chaos and infection fester throughout Raccoon City, Brad catches Jill and tells her that thing was after STARS operatives. Seriously, who the hell is Brad? Doesn't matter. Now he's bit and he's not gonna make it. She works her way through the alleys and gets spotted by this random helicopter who says go to the parking garage roof. She heads that way and drops a bunch of zombies like she's done this before, but because night flying for some reason isn't allowed in this franchise, boom! Another helicopter gets destroyed. Fuck me, Brawlic Inspector Gadget is back? Also, if you don't know, this is Nemesis. Jill steals that car from Too Fast Too Furious, gets her crazy taxi on and tries to run Nemesis over.
Silly bitch. You ain't Brady gonna have to choke a bitch?
As it catches a fucking car, it starts choking her, and as she's getting choked, Jill drives all of them off the building, crushing Nemesis. Girl really just drove off a multi-story building without a seatbelt and managed to crawl out no problem. Plot armors.
The hell of a drug.
Boom! Car goes up in flames, but like the honey badger, Nemesis doesn't give a shit. However, fire destroys his bag face and we learn Jill's actually getting stalked by South Park's Michael Jackson. Jill's now all but screwed until plot armor kicks in again as Hispanic dude Nukem pulls up with a rocket launcher. Boom! Dead. Maybe. His name is Carlos and helps Jill to the subway where they're harboring survivors. He's also part of the Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service, or the team that gets called when everything goes to shit. Jill meets their cranky Russian platoon leader, cranky because things aren't good. The city's cut off, most of the civilians are dead, and so is most of his platoon. They need Jill's help to get the subway moving. While doing Resident Evil things like looting, playing with puppies, and poking zombie butts, wait, what? She finds an injured platoon member who, BAM! Gets shot by Brian from Tekken. Before you Resident Evil nerds blow me up, I know his real name's Nikolai. In this video, he's Brian. Eventually, Jill gets to the power station and has to flip all the breakers while not letting demon cockroaches deep throat her with parasites. Power restored, she heads to the traffic control to reroute the train.
oh yeah,
How are you not dead? Running for her life again, Jill stops to reroute the train system and has to avoid becoming a weird tentacle hentai. It's a Japanese developer, of course there's gonna be tentacles. She makes it back to the subway, regroups with Carlos and exchanges pleasantries with Brian. Her Hell Knight Stalker's also back, so Jill draws it out to let Carlos's team finish repairing the train, and then barricades herself in the sewers. Sewers that are also infested with demonic toad chickens. This conveniently placed grenade launcher helps her fight through the sewers and oh shit. Nemesis wastes no time grabbing Jill by the head and tosses her like Taiga Saijima. Where the fuck did he get a flamethrower? As Jill runs for her life again, I'm starting to question Nemesis' true motives. He has held her life in his hands multiple times already. If he really wanted to kill her, couldn't he just squeeze her like a grape instead of just tossing her around? No, is that just me? Despite the fact that he can go gadget hentai vine whip wherever he wants, Jill manages to avoid Nemesis and his flamethrower long enough to get to the top of the building. Bop, bop, bop! She blows up his fuel tank, but he doesn't care. Screw it, I'll just beat you with the gun. And starts chasing her like he's not completely on fire. Eventually Nemesis goes down as the building goes up in flames. He's dead, right? Right? Completely unharmed from falling off a building, Jill works her way back to the subway and you gotta be fucking kidding me. Again? And he has a rocket launcher? Resident Evil 3 is just the zombie version of Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. Nemesis's Acme head ass is getting all these gadgets from nowhere as Jill continues to get away. As Jill's dodging rockets, she stops to take a phone call because why not? Catches a rocket-propelled grenade, but only gets thrown by the force of the blast. Are we sure she's human? This is getting ridiculous. We need a plot armor counter. Jill runs back to Carlos, who catches Clayface with a claymore and boom! Sends the whole gas station up in flames. They regroup at the fixed subway, and as Jill's getting on, Carlos is sent back out to find Nathaniel Bard, the scientist who's been developing the vaccine. The train leaves, Jill can finally relax. It's over. Psych! Dude just blew up the whole civilian car, and Jill's tight as she says exactly what we're all thinking.
How is this fucker not dead yet?
Then she tries to escape until Brian locks the door and dips with that smug ass smile. Nemesis grabs the Russian squad leader, and dude does the most Russian shit ever by talking shit right before blowing himself and Nemesis up point blank with C4. The explosion derails the train. No way Jill survives this. Scene change. If you thought Capcom was being lazy by only giving us a 6-hour game, wait until you find out they reused an entire set piece from Resident Evil 2. For context, this is before RE2. Carlos and his boy Tyrell go to the police station looking for information on Bard. We find out how Shaft got bit. Damn it, Brad. Carlos then does the pew pew a little remodeling and finds out Bard's holed up in the hospital. Back to Jill. The train is flipped over. It's on fire, and of course, she wasn't wearing a seatbelt in this giant metal tube. And yet, she still manages to crawl out of the wreckage generally unharmed. I can't even act surprised anymore. Nemesis is back. Yeah, we get it. I'm just annoyed and bitter like Jill is at this point.
Bitch can't even swim.
You know Nemesis heard that because he busts out the water like, "Bitch, you talking shit!" and somehow evolved into the Elden Ring boss. Behold, dog. As this thing continues to get bigger, stronger, faster, and even manages to chew on her vital organs a little bit, the power of the green herbs and gunpowder allow Jill to fight it off again. And when you finally think it's over, you probably don't. Just pretend you do. It's not. I mean, why would Capcom go out of their way to design another enemy when they could just bring this one back for the 9th time? Jill gets grabbed again, severs its arm, tries to escape, new arm, and replacement tentacle arm thing stabs her with the virus, and then slinks away. A half day later, Carlos finds her and brings her to the hospital that Bard's at, hoping the vaccine will save her. Carlos searches for Bard's lab, fights demon Battletoads, and eventually finds Bard's dead body. Bard's last recording informs Carlos about Umbrella's collusion and where the vaccines are held. He gives the hospital sample to Jill, finds out the government is going to level Raccoon City, single-handedly fights off an entire zombie horde, and then heads underground to get the rest of the vaccine. As Carlos searches and Tyrell tries to get Uncle Sam to chill the fuck out, Jill wakes up hours before the missile strike. She goes after Carlos, works her way through the underground facility, fights the zombie version of Whitey, and learns they can stop the strike if they can get the vaccine before those missiles launch. Once inside the labs, thwap! Tyrell immediately gets bodied by Nemesis and then skewered, giving Jill just enough time to close the blast door. Big rips for the homie Tyrell. Black guys in horror never make it. Don't tell Sweet Baby I said that. As Jill progresses through the labs, we learn making vaccines for apocalyptic diseases isn't harder than basic mixology, and Nemesis is just a tyrant with brain parasites. We also learn Umbrella is international. Umbrella Europe is the one that made Nemesis, and as we will see in later games, the fuckery extends way past US borders. Vaccine in hand, Jill heads out, and to no one's surprise, Nemesis shows up again. She stabs her way out, gets tossed spine first into a metal pole, and then falls to the floor below. She tries to escape until the fleshy xenomorph grabs her again, but she uses the surrounding fuel tanks to get rid of it. Jill ends up in the disposal center. Nemesis is still after her, and as it makes her drop her vaccine, Brian is right there to pick it up. Leon did the same thing. Why is everyone dropping the important item? I know your gear includes zippers and velcroed pouches. Secure that shit! Because Brian's a selfish prick, he takes the cure for himself and is collecting data from Nemesis fights to sell to the highest bidder. He drops her into the pit, and now we're fighting the same boss again. Behold, dog. Thankfully, Carlos comes through, rocks Nemesis' shit with a crane claw, and fills the pit with acid, melting dog Terminator 2 style. Can we please be done with this thing? Immediately, Jill goes after Brian to get the vaccine back. She's all like, drop the gun. He's all like, no, you drop your gun.
Oh yeah!
Oh no, how is this thing not fucking dead? After getting dissolved in acid, Nemesis morphed into a sentient meatloaf doom boss. Brian's out, Carlos goes after him, and Jill conveniently finds a massive railgun that's only usable in this room.
Say hello to my little friend!
As Jill feeds it the barrel and boom, pops its fat ass like a balloon. She rushes to the helicopter. Carlos is messed up. She gets dropped and no, he shoots the vaccine? Why? He's double-crossing everyone left and right from the beginning because his client ordered a complete destruction of Umbrella. Is he working for Wesker? One trigger pull away from finishing off Jill, Brian does what all bad guys do and starts talking too much, giving Carlos just enough time to jump him. As we watch the community theater version of a Brian Shaheen fight, Carlos grabs Brian and Jill shoots them both. Carlos gets up and starts the helicopter. Jill asks Brian who he works for, and he tries to bargain for his life. He'll talk if they save him. Jill takes a page out of Brian's book of self-preservation and simply leaves his ass to die. Poetic justice. Carlos and Jill fly off just in time to get away from Raccoon City as it's razed to the ground. Don't worry, these helicopters only crash at night. And that's Resident Evil 3. Jill's off to make Umbrella burn, and interestingly shares Wesker's goal. I wonder how that's going to turn out for the two of them. If you enjoyed these videos, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, or don't. I'm not going to tell you how you live your life. Don't forget to let me know in the comments what other games do you want to see. We've already done a ton of other Explained videos, so make sure you check those out as well. I'm La Muerte Blanca, and I'll catch you guys next time.